Welcome to day 146 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of July 2006 and arguably the best film we've watched so far, which was Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
best movie of the year as of right now, and I guess we'll see if it ends up being best movie of the year.
I mean,
Full stop.
there is stuff later on that's supposed to be good, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see.
Um, well, okay, so you've both seen this before.
Yes.
No, I have.
Oh,
not
you haven't.
Seen,
Okay,
I haven't seen anything past the first movie.
okay,
I've seen past the first movie
okay. Was it recently or like a while ago?
a while ago.
Okay. Melissa, I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
Really, super brief summary, I guess, would be I like this more than the first one.
I wasn't sure, but then I thought about it more and I was like, out of all the movies, this movie has probably, at least of the ones that we've watched so far, this movie has like the most memorable scenes for me between the first one and this one. In terms of the very famous cannibal,
The cannibal fleeing scene.
the cannibal fleeing scene, and then I remembered the wheel,
Yeah,
like wheel sword
Oh
fight
yeah.
I feel like I saw, like, I don't know where this, but I feel like I saw, like, 10 minutes of this movie or something at one point, and that, like, it was basically the wheel, is what because I know I've seen that before, but I don't know where. So,
That
Yeah.
was probably really cool. And then I remembered the end credits part with the dog.
oh, yeah. No, the thing is, like, when the dog, they were, like, chasing the dog, and then I was, like, in my head, I was, like, watch, they're gonna reveal they actually are worshipping it now, and then it's not, they're not, and I'm like, oh, okay. There you go.
Well, he's happy.
He's good boy.
He's
Yes.
a good boy.
All praise good boy.
Praise good boy.
Praise Poochie.
What I do like about this is like it's I know there's going to be some people who are going to get mad that I'm going to relate these two things together and be like, how could you? Rah! But I'm going to and then explain why. Is that it's kind of reminds me of Lord of the Rings. In like,
Oh.
Oh.
but it
It's not just because of Orlando Bloom,
no,
is
no,
it?
no, no, it's not him, and it's not like I would say the Lord of the Rings is better. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
better. But in terms of like the larger scale of things and like the
building
costumes
and
on the
stuff?
people,
Oh, yeah.
and like there's kind of CGI used for like big things instead of just like here's an effect right here. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah, that's
the
true.
scale is a bit Lord of the Ringsy. So,
Right.
and I kind of feel like
Well-
maybe that was even with the first movie was kind of maybe like intentional because it's kind of like, you know, if you think of like stereotypical fantasy-ish kind of settings, you know, there's like medieval, there's which is Lord of the Rings. I mean, I guess you could there's, you know, the pirate setting, there's like there could be like a Middle Eastern theme is probably another one that's fairly common. You know what I mean? It's like it's one of kind of the main tropes of like fictional settings, right? So I'm kind of thinking that maybe that was on purpose. But the first one, I don't know, it didn't quite feel as big. It was more of a condensed story where this is like, you know, it's a larger scale story. And in some ways, I think that's actually a little bit of a problem because this is a long movie, and it feels like it's not like, oh my god, when is this gonna end? But it's like it does feel pretty long.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happens, so it's one of those where it's like, you know, that's I guess one issue. It's not a huge issue, but yeah, I just kind of got that sense that that's what they were kind of trying to go for, and I think overall it works pretty well. I mean, the Kraken stuff, like, you can tell that it's CGI, but it still looks pretty impressive.
Yeah,
So-
especially with the teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And I'm glad
God.
that I'm glad that they didn't go the route of like, you know, never showing it until like the very end. So they
Yeah.
didn't show like the whole thing really until the actually kind of never really showed the whole thing, but you get the idea.
You see the parts you need to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that they didn't like on purpose try to hide it, which is something that always kind of bothers me in a lot of like monster kind of things. So
Like Godzilla.
yeah, well, because the thing is like at the beginning, like the very first scene with the Kraken is like at night and you can't really see it.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, are they gonna have this for like every single time it shows up? But they don't. So I'm like, okay, good. So, yeah. So that was nice. And again, the scale of things is cool. And I'm actually curious, like, with Davy Jones, like how much of him is like, you know, just like a mask, and how much of it is CG. Is it
I
any
think
of it
it's
CG?
probably a mix.
Because like the
Probably a
tentacle
big
things are
mix.
like constantly moving, right? So
Yeah.
it can't just be a mask.
I think the face piece is a mask, but maybe they have like they animate the tentacles later in post.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting because I was always kind of looking at him and see if like there's moments where like it's more obvious that it's just a mask for maybe like lighter shots or whatever. But I'm like, nope. I think like every single time you see him, like something is moving around down there. So I don't know. It's just interesting.
What I was gonna say before too is that when you were talking about grander scale and stuff, another thing is that they expanded more of the world with this in terms of
Yeah.
world building and stuff,
Oh
which
yeah.
was really cool. Since in the previous film it was kind of just okay, there's the Aztec gold and everything, and it's like okay, but here they like really expanded the fantasy bit and they included Davy Jones and stuff because the Aztecs are in history. They do exist and there is gold and stuff. But Davy Jones is not something
That exists.
Yeah.
that exists.
Yeah. No, I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And it makes
it's really
me-
cool.
It makes me wonder because the third movie, I did look this up because I was curious. It was like made at the same time as this one, and it comes out in just about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I am curious, kind of what they do for that, because the fact that like, and I haven't seen these movies, so I don't know, but because the title is At World's End, and so at first like, okay, whatever, it's just a title. But now that they're actually going into like, you know, here's some real lore about stuff. Now I'm like, oh. How are they going to do this? Are they actually going to show, like, the end of the world? How is that going to look? You know, so I'm actually interested in that now. Whereas if it was just like, oh yeah, pirates doing things, I wouldn't be as interested at it. You know?
I think
So-
the lady that they like went back to, I think she kind of said something like you have to go to the ends of the world to
Yeah.
get him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
One thing about that, actually.
uh
I, like, had no idea what the hell she was saying. Like, in any scene, I'm
Yeah,
like,
it was
what
kind
are
of
you
hard
saying?
to hear.
she has a very thick like
Some sort of accent where I'm like,
Accent.
I cannot hear you. And, like,
I
literally had to
Hi.
look up the Wikipedia summary for like, wait, what did she actually tell them? Because like it's a hard, okay. Like I did not follow any of that. So
I kind of got some of it because I had a classmate who was from like the Caribbean, so after like getting used to their accent, I could understand like at least 70% of what she was saying. Maybe I just had a clear advantage though. So
I don't know.
I actually knew because I had watched the movie previously, so.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
But yeah, speaking of women, and Elizabeth was not a Mary Jane.
Yes.
she's so on point. She's like, she gets shit done. She's just like, she goes and she like holds the guy at gunpoint, and then she like goes and dresses herself up as a dude and is like, okay, I have to get to like the pirate hangout place. So she uses her like dress to haunt the ship, and it was great.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That was pretty hilarious. And the thing with it is it's not as like oh, this is like her strong points, but then when Will comes back, she's gonna go back to being a damsel or distress or anything. No. Like during
She's
the
trying to
whole
shoot the
sword fight.
Kraken.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then during the whole sword fight thing where like the three guys were fighting over the chest, she was the one with the actual chest.
Yeah.
She's like, you idiots.
then also how she like, played up the stereotype, but she was like, "Oh, the heat," and like fell over or whatever.
Yeah, hoping that the guys would like come over to check on her, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Dang it!"
I was worried at the beginning when like Will like got out of the prison, but then she stayed in there. I was like, "Oh, are they just gonna leave her there, like not have her do anything? That's lame." But then they didn't do that, so I was like, "Okay, good." So there's a couple moments in this movie where I was like, "Oh, are they gonna do this?" And they didn't. So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So yeah,
Elizabeth gets shit done.
Yes, not like Mary Jane, who just stands there and screams.
Let's feed her to the Kraken, and yeah, that would be the end of the movie. Instead, we feed Mary Jane
no,
to the
see,
Kraken.
that's what happened to Doc Ock.
Oh,
He's now the Kraken.
Oh, that's a suitable ending for him.
See, his weird machine, I don't even remember what the machine did in Spider-Man 2, but whatever. That thing actually ended up being a time machine that sent him back to, like, the 1600s.
Oh my god. And he became a Kraken.
Yeah, obviously.
Doc Crack.
Yeah,
got him played by Davy Jones.
I am actually, and I am now, again, going back to, like, with the third movie, I am curious, because, again, even though she's active, she is, like, she's kind of, like, becomes active in this movie, right? So I'm curious now, it's like, okay, she's part of the main quest, she's doing things to everyone else, I want to see her, like, fully integrated with that right from the start in the movie and see where she goes from there.
Yeah.
So,
Sure, that's what they're gonna do.
yeah.
Now that they're, like, short one pirate.
Yeah, so, but we'll see how it goes. I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think the general consensus is that this one is the best. Is that
it?
true? I
I'm
think
not
that's
sure.
what I've seen.
I should ask my brother.
I mean, I'm sure everyone has their own opinion, but I think, if I remember correctly, that's what most people say. But I
I mean,
think
it has a lot of good plot elements, like, for all of the characters,
Oh.
like, including Will as well.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Will, I remember how Valen, you mentioned in the last review how you were like, I wonder how much they're going to like bring or use from the first film and what's going to pop up again. Will's dad appeared again.
yeah, so that's something.
Yeah.
Strap Bill
Yeah. It
Turner.
was really sad what happened to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just trying to be a good dad for all of the years that he lost.
Yeah. His poor wife too died before she ever knew.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what's. Oh, here we go. Wait, what?
Hmm?
Well, oh, okay, never mind. I was like, huh? Okay, I was looking at a number, but that's not the like Metacritic score. Okay, here we go.
You were about to be outraged.
Well, no, because it said like the score for the first one was like 40 something, and then they're not 40. It said 70, and then the second one it said like 17. I was like, what? But no, it was like box office rankings or something. So okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Hmm?
Rotten Tomatoes gives the first one 79, this one 54,
What?
the next one 45, the fourth one 32, and the fifth one 30.
Oh.
Hi.
I don't know. I mean, yeah. I've heard that the later ones are not very good, but I thought I've always heard this one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought this one was the best, and then the first and third were kind of like behind it a little bit, and then fourth was worse, and then fifth was worse than that. That's what I thought it was. Again, maybe I just misremembering, but
I
don't
never
know.
watched the fifth one, but the fourth one I can agree.
Is the worst of the ones you've seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it kind of because like the first three are like their own story and then the fourth one is kind of almost like a spin-off or something?
Well, again, I mean, the first one was made by itself, but like this one and the third one were, made together, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Better
I guess you could
sequels
put it
than
as the
Matrix.
third one is like the end of one arc, and then the fourth one I think was going off a different one.
Mm.
Still a better sequel duo than The Matrix.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Sorry.
I mean, I'd say first Matrix is better than any of these movies, but these are all better than the Matrix sequels by a good amount. So that's what I would say. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I don't have. It's like I watched a lot of stuff, but at the same time, I feel like there's not too much to talk about.
Yeah, it's good. See it.
Yeah,
Go.
I mean, yeah, if you saw the first one and thought it was good, decent, you'll see this one and think it's. I mean, it's mostly the same, right? You know, there's not. It's not like there's a huge difference in anything.
Yeah, like tonally, it's pretty much
Yeah.
the same. There are a couple
There's
of
comedy
moments-
elements and there's freaky
Yeah,
elements.
actually.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of the comedy, I think one reason that I did like this one more is that like there's just weird shit that happens in this movie. Like pretty much the entire stuff with like the natives and like how they escape and that is just like so ridiculous that it's like entertaining. And then the wheel is just like hilariously weird and you know, just stuff like that that's just it's just like this is stupid, but I don't care. You know, it's just
It's
stuff
kind of-
like that.
It like takes itself seriously enough, but it knows when to scale back and be like, "Ha, we're kind of also a funny movie too."
Yeah.
I could see some people arguing that like it's maybe the fact that it kind of flips between serious and funny could be like a problem because it skips around with the tone, but it didn't really bother me. So
It didn't bother me either.
yeah.
I thought it was appropriate how they handled it.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
I've seen worse. We've seen worse.
Oh,
We've seen
definitely.
a lot worse.
Yeah, especially this year.
Yeah. Yeah, this year's not been very good.
Like
No.
two cars being in love. Mm-hmm. I really hope there's no like car babies.
Oh my god. We are not
Yeah.
talking about cars anymore.
Why would you
Actually-
bring that up?
Actually, we will be talking about cars.
Oh yeah. Oh
A very disappointing note.
And on that note, good night.
Might watch this movie instead.
Oh.